Yo, what is up, guys? Your boy Sazza here, bringing you guys a video about my ban list predictions for January/February of 2019. To start the fresh new year off, I wanted to give you guys a ban list prediction video because I feel like this is a perfect time to release this. I think the format is not going to change at all. Pretty much when Savage Strike comes out, there's not really anything that's going to spice up the format besides a ban list, because Savage Strike didn't really give us anything in the OCG, and I don't think we're going to get anything that's too impactful, at least from the OCG, besides imports like Needle Fiber, like anything else that would be from the OCG that we haven't had. So let's get started. The first cards I want to talk about in this video is the Rongo deck. Rongo Bongo is just too strong in the metagame. Being able to lock your opponent out of playing entirely is just way too strong. I'm not going to go into details on really why this card is just broken. I think it just says it for itself that this card is just way too unfair. It's too consistent, and it just shouldn't be in the game. As well as Gumblar. Gumblar is just way too unfair. It's too consistent. Getting Gumblar for 6 is not fun. Having 0 cards in your hand to play, or 1 card or 2 cards to play, is not really fun in this game. And I don't think the game should be fun, but at least it should be a fair game to where you have a chance to combat your opponent. And I don't think Gumblar or Rongo does that for your player or your opponent, at least. So the next cards I want to talk about is Summon Sark. Summon Sark, obviously, it's just one of the best extenders in the game. Obviously, it should be banned. I'm not going to go too much into details on this as well. Summon Sark just says it for itself. It has been seen in a lot of FTKs. It's seen in a lot of really strong combos. I don't think this card is good for the game. Now, the next card I want to talk about is Isolde. I think Phoenix Blade is going to be hit. But if they do hit Isolde to 1, that could be pretty devastating. I don't think it's too bad on Noble Knights or any of the other warrior decks, because you just go into it once. But for the Dark Warrior deck, you get negated on your Isolde. You're not going to be able to get into it again like you would do if they negated your add effect and they destroyed it with like something like Gamma. And you can just go back into Isolde and then use the second effect. So I think Isolde to 1 is really good, and Phoenix Blade to 0, obviously, because that card is just so busted. Being able to discard so many cards with the Nightmares, with Gumblar, with Aqua Dolphin, it's just not fair in today's metagame. So the next deck I want to talk about in this video is the Danger deck. The Danger FTK/draw. I think they didn't really do anything to this deck. The Danger cards are still at 3. All of them. They're really strong. They do a lot of things. And I think the one card they need to hit in this deck, if not Skull Dread, if not anything, is the Beginning of the End. I think this card is just so powerful. Being able to draw 3 and just dig through your deck, and it's just too powerful. Being able to draw 3 is just insane. You've seen with Pot of Greed, you've seen with any of these other really crazy draw cards. The Beginning of the End is too consistent in the Danger Dark World FTK, or whatever you want to call it today, the /draw FTK. The Beginning of the End, too powerful. Drawing 3 cards, digging through your deck is just way too good in this deck, and the setup is just too strong. So the Beginning of the End should be banned. This card has not been seen in any other deck besides this deck, and it's been Cancer. Now with Allure, I don't think Allure should be hit, but if they do not hit the Dangers, I think Allure just needs to go to 1, because the consistency of the Dangers is just too powerful. With any deck, just the Thunder Dragon Danger deck, with any other Danger deck, Allure is just too good not to play in that deck, because you just banish them for free, and yeah, it's just too strong. So the next card I'm going to talk about is Skull Dread. This card is obviously really good in World Childs, but it's pretty much an FTK card with the /draw. I don't think Skull Dread is healthy at 3. I think it's always been Cancer at 3, but there's no real strong deck to abuse it besides Dangers, because obviously the /draw FTK. So I think Skull Dread should go to 1. Obviously, I think this card should have been at 1 at a certain point, but now it's time to go to 1. The next cards I want to talk about is the Thunder Dragon deck. I think Gold Sarcophagus should go to 1. I think that's pretty understandable. This deck is still pretty powerful, and if they hit the other decks that are really strong in this game, I think Thunder Dragons need to be hit as well. And I think they're the top 3 in the meta right now. And I think another card that should be taken into consideration is Brilliant Fusion. Now, this card has been seen in many different decks. We have been predicting Brilliant Fusion to be hit since 2016, 2015. This card is just way too powerful. It's one of the best extenders or starter cards in the game. It's just way, way too good. And with Thunder Dragons be able to summon Prismora now, I don't think this card should be at 3, especially because of the Gem Knight FTK. And we'll get to that in a bit. I think Brilliant Fusion had its time, and I think this card should be hit at some point. The next deck I want to talk about in this video is Sky Strikers. Now, this deck is very, very strong, and I think it had its time. I think Engage should go to 1. I think if they do anything to Widow Anchor, it should go to 2. I think any more is just an overkill. And I think that the Kagari should go to 1. I think that's good enough to hurt the deck to where it's not dominating the meta. I think the deck is still playable, as we've seen in the OCG, but I think Sky Strikers had its time. It's a very strong deck. It's won multiple YCS. I don't think this deck should be, the tier 1 deck that it has been for, the rest of this year or moving forward in this meta. So the next deck or cards I want to talk about is the Phantom Knights. Now, the Phantom Knights has been seen in a lot of different decks besides the Rongo Bongo deck. I think this deck is just too good of an engine with the Rusty Bardiche. I think this card is not healthy for the game. You can splash the PK engine into any dark deck or anything, and you can just get so much advantage. You've seen with the Triff deck, you've seen, set 2 Fog Blades and then set up negates as well, and then you can do the effect of when you summon an XYZ, you can pop a card. There's just too much goodness out of this card. Rusty is just too strong with the PKs, and Shade Brigandine being a card in Rongo. I think if anything gets hit in this deck, I think the most valuable card in any of the decks is Shade Brigandine. Now, I don't think Fogblade is too much of a problem. It's a trap card. It's a brick if you do draw it. But Shade Brigandine is just way too powerful. Being able to have an extender like this and being able to search it out with Rusty is just too strong. And I think it's the only PK that you can actually hit that doesn't hurt any other deck that splashes in. BA don't play this card. You only play this as an extender in other decks like World Chalice, the Danger, Dark World FTK, or whatever you want to call it, or the Dark Warrior deck. That's the only 3 decks you will possibly play this card in. So I think the Phantom Knights is a honorable mention. I think another honorable mention is Soul Charge. Obviously, this card should have been banned years ago, but it's still the thing. I don't think this card is healthy. A lot of people don't think it's healthy. This card should be out of the games. So the last card I want to talk about in this video is Droll and Lockbird. Now, Droll and Lockbird has always been a cancerous card. I think it's shown its colors with Trick Stars, where the Reincarnation Droll is just too much. Droll just stops you from doing so much. Adding from your deck to your hand is just too powerful in today's meta, and Droll and Lockbird just automatically locks you out of that. So I don't think that's healthy at all. And as you see in the video, I do not mention Altergeist in this video at all. I don't think Altergeist should be hit. I know in my last Banlist prediction video, I said Altergeist should get hit, like Faker to 2 or something like that. But I don't think Altergeist had its shine yet to where it needs to be hit. So that is it, guys. Let me know what you guys think about this Banlist prediction video. And tell me what you guys think should be hit if I did miss anything. And yeah. So like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later.